Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be my second week of Pride Month reading vlog. For the continuing saga of house buying, you might want to check out last week's vlog as well as my preliminary thoughts on a couple of books that I'm going to be wrapping up this week. It's Tuesday when I'm starting this, and this morning we have been trying to get pre-approval for a home loan. For a house that we will be renting to my great aunt and my brother, and that will help them both with lower rent. It's a whole hassle of paperwork, and so hopefully all the swearing is done. It was my mom who was swearing. I usually swear at other things like my computer crashing or hurting myself by walking into a wall, which I do a lot. But right now I'm going to play some video games to chill out, and I'm also going to listen to If I Was Your Girl, which is a book about a trans woman by a trans woman, and according to Wikipedia it's one of the first of those that was widely distributed in the US, so that's really cool. I'm really liking it so far. The main character is really likable and I am really enjoying her evolving relationship with the boy she likes. I finally have my water filtration, carbon scrubber, natural gas generator all working. This took forever to get the pipes worked out correctly and everything going, but it's very exciting. And I'm listening to If I Was Your Girl. This is a piece of furniture I'm going to paint. I don't want to put more paper until I'm ready to actually paint it because the kids will play with it and possibly rip it up. Yeah, you like crackly paper, don't you? Pretty girl. Pretty girl. Yeah. Yeah. You're so beautiful. So beautiful. So I'm reading Candidly Klein, and I'm at about 150 some pages, and Klein goes to a all-night lock-in at her friend's church with her friend, because her friend wants her to go, and Klein wants to meet more Christian people, but she wasn't raised Christian, and Klein has met some Christian kids and wants to make better friends with them is what I meant. And she's only slightly familiar with how some Christians are about gay people, but she was kind of put off by some of the things, the generic things that were said in the sermon that was at the lock-in. Fortunately, there was only one sermon. It was mostly a lot of games. I've only been to lock-ins where we were preparing for a specific thing, like there was an outreach where we were mentoring kids, and so a lot of the time was spent talking about how to teach the kids and how to be supportive and how to and like psychological stuff about these are the things that these kids might act like because they have trauma responses, and stuff like that, and then followed by bonding games, team building games. In the morning of this lock-in, there's a prayer service in the morning, and it's one where you can go out with prayer requests, and as soon as I heard that that was a thing, I knew what was going to happen, and I was like, no, don't do that, let that not happen, oh my gosh, no, and then it happened. So yeah, also I might have been making faces, the segment where I showed myself filming here, and that's because I was reading what happened just before that, and I was like, oh, this is not going good. So yeah, hopefully things get better for Klein soon. And now here's Pippin enjoying the crinkly paper and having a little nap. Of course he decided to lay on the crinkle paper and play with the crinkle paper before it was actually time for me to get up. Yes, I'm talking about you. And over here we have Sam, who is the politest little thing. So polite. And this is Frodo.
If you're counting my cats, there are 4 of them. I count people cats whenever there's more than 2 in a video. I have a total of 4. Yes. Yes, little Frodo. And Pippin's still lounging. Oh, do we need a little chin scratch? Oh, a little chin scratch. Yeah.
So it's Wednesday morning, which is my work day, so it's about 6:18, and I'm going to leave for my work in a few minutes. It takes half an hour to get there. I start at 7. And I'm able to read there a fair amount because the kids are introverts, so they don't need me to be engaging with them constantly. They like to play in the dirt by themselves, and I just watch them. And yeah, they also like to watch dinosaur documentaries, so that's fun. And Lego Jurassic Park. I've learned quite a bit about dinosaurs since I've been watching them.
I'm making Christmas crack for myself and no one else. You know why? Because last week we bought a bunch of delicious turtles. There were 12 of them, and I only got to eat 2 of them. I'm in a family of 3. So I'm resentful, and I'm gonna, once I finish these, I'm gonna take them to my room, and no one else can have them. And no, I don't have a mice problem. I have 4 cats.
Hey there, it's Thursday, a long update, so I'm sitting down with the tripod for it so I don't have to hold the camera. So I didn't film anymore yesterday because it was kind of a long day, and then I had to work again today, so I was like resting and recharging. Next week I have just like 4 hours of childcare to do, and it's not till Tuesday, so I've got quite a time off, and I think I'm going to use that to do some crafty stuff because I've not been doing that for a while. I finished listening to If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, and it was shaping up to be, you know, mostly light and fluffy with some transphobia and some being very worried about being outed and type stuff. It got quite dark there at the end, and yeah, it was a bit emotionally harrowing, which fortunately I've had a lot of Pride books that have not been harrowing, but the more of them that I come upon unexpectedly, the more I have to put off ones that I know are going to be emotional. So like, yeah, hopefully the next few will be light and fluffy. I also appreciated the afterword by the author, but yeah, our main character had a crush on a boy, and they had a really sweet relationship, and she also had some really great girlfriends. I really liked the girlfriends that she made. They were pretty great, except for one that we won't go into. Then I also listened to An American Sunrise, which is only about 2 hours, by Joy Harjo. It's a poetry collection, and it was really interesting. I recognized one of the poems that was also in a collection of Indigenous poetry that I had read, and overall they were interesting, and I enjoyed her rhythm and like the way she writes, and she also read them herself, so like she like was able to fully, someone didn't have to interpret how to read her rhythm, so it was like authentic to how she would have it read. And then another short audiobook, Inside Out and Back Again by Thon Haley, which is about shortly after the Vietnam War. People from the north had already fled from the people taking over the country in the north to the south, and had been uprooted once, now kind of had to leave the whole country because the south was being taken over as well. And so they were able to flee by boat to Guam, which is a very uncomfortable journey, and it goes into details on that. A dangerous journey because they were close to running out of food and water. And from there, the families could sign up to be sponsored by Americans. So I don't know exactly how it works, but someone who wanted people to work for him for cheap would come over and be like, I want a certain number of young men to come work for him, and sometimes that they would bring their families with them, and that's what happened in this case. And so they came over and lived in a house that was owned by the people who sponsored them. This person was basically responsible for them, and was supposed to help them get jobs, get training for jobs and education and stuff like that. And so the kids were able to go to school. I'm not sure what the mom did, I can't remember. But it was a very difficult experience being a refugee and not knowing the language and having a very different culture and have a bunch of racist children at the schools they had to go to, and basically having everything be foreign when you're just a little kid and having to adjust all of a sudden like that, and missing home and all those things. And so there's like the main character processing this. I think she's about 10, and it was really interesting and emotional and informative because I did not know about that. And in the afterword of that book, the author said that she had experienced pretty much those same things as a child. It wasn't specifically autobiographical, but it was very much drawing upon her own experiences. Okay, that's all of the audiobooks. I started the audiobook of Get a Grip, Baby Cohen last week, had to stop it because it was too emotional and was hurting my feelings, basically because while there is bullying in this book, because this girl joins an all-boys team and middle school boys are little jerks, and she's also autistic, which is why I was reading it in the first place. Own voices, I believe. The much more painful part was that her mother did not understand her being autistic and relied on a therapist who did not know what she was talking about for help. Like, the therapist said to specifically limit her engagement with special interests just because they were special interests, because it was a non-neurotypical thing to have a special interest. And that was so upsetting to me. And in this case, the special interest is baseball, specifically a specific type of pitch, because she's a pitcher called a knuckleball, which very few people do, and it's a very weird type of pitch. And she didn't want to play softball because you can't throw a knuckleball with the bigger, softer ball. Also, the mother is very infantilizing of her 11-year-old or so, thinks she can't do anything and that her opinions don't matter and her feelings don't matter. But a positive emotional thing is, one, it's clear from fairly early on that the dad is autistic, undiagnosed, and that's where it came from. But also, this is epistolary style, so it's her writing letters and emails to a pitcher who she really admires, and I love it so much. So that was a really good point, but also emotional. I'm glad I stopped reading the audiobook so that I could control how fast I was reading and take breaks, because I took a break pretty much after every letter once I got to the later part of this book, to pace around and flap my hands. So I'm glad I did that and read the rest of this in physical form. I ended up really liking it, but I would definitely recommend, if you're autistic and can relate in any way to any of this, if you're neurodivergent in general, or if you have problems with parents infantilizing their kids, do be in a good headspace before you try to read this. I also finished Candidly Klein, which I also started last week, and it's about a girl who loves music and wants to be a singer-songwriter with a guitar. She likes kind of oldie stuff. I'm not sure when this is set. It feels like it's set back in the 90s, and it's also set in the South. So I've never been to the South, so maybe it always feels like it's the 90s there. This is another one where the parent doesn't take the child's emotions into consideration nearly enough, which frustrates me a lot. It's very realistic, but it's very irritating. And fortunately, I didn't grow up in that kind of situation myself, but drives me up a wall. There's a good expression. But she has a really good relationship with her grandma, which is nice, and also and she makes a new friend who she gets a crush on while she's taking music, going to a music program, and that's a very sweet relationship, and overall I really enjoyed it. Then I started Lily and Duncan, which Lily is a trans girl and Duncan is someone who wants to change his name because his name is Norbert Dorfman, which is a truly easy to make fun of name, and he's been bullied for it pretty much all his life. I'm about halfway through, and Duncan is irritating me very much. He's being a little jerk. Even though he knows what it's like to be picked on and outcast, he is not immediately siding with the other outcasts at school. He's trying to get in with the in crowd, and that's very irritating, but probably also realistic. And there's a very special tree that was planted, I think, by Lily's granddad, which is going to come into play because they're going to try to knock it down to make a new special park that doesn't include the tree. So according to the back, that's going to be an important part of the plot. So far, kind of okay. I'm not totally into it, but I'm definitely gonna finish it.
Do you need your morning loving stuff? Do you need the morning loving stuff? Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we need so many pets in the morning. Yes, we need our morning pets. Yes. So Frodo loves to sit in the window seat, and normally he has a special blankie here that he cuddles with, but it's been in the wash because he got it very dirty, so now he's leaning up against his pillow, but the blanket is finished. He likes it in a little nesty sort of shape. So there we go. Now you have your blanket back. Is that better? That's better. Oh. Yeah. Don't get my pillow dirty. That's not washable. Yeah, somebody's leaning on their special blankie, aren't they? Yeah, it took him a while. He wanted to lay against the pillow for a while longer before he could move back to the blanket. He's gonna come get pets now.
Okay, it's Saturday and I finally finished Lily and Duncan. There were some sweet moments where they sat in a tree together to try to protect the tree from getting taken down, and I liked the eventual evolution of their relationship. But there was a lot of really hard stuff, especially towards the end of the book, but throughout the book, with Lily's family, specifically with Lily's dad not accepting her the way she is, and being bullied a lot, and also slurs are used, like the F slur is used kind of a lot, and some really bad stuff happens to both characters in the last quarter, and Duncan is bipolar and also seems to have schizophrenia. I don't think that bipolar always comes with hallucinations, or if that's like, I think those are separate things, but maybe that's all part of his bipolar. And there's experiences of taking and not taking medication for that, so it's kind of heavy. So I didn't really enjoy my time with it, but there was a lot of good stuff about it, so like this is another of those, be in a good place before you try to read this one. 3.5 to 4 stars, and since it's Saturday, I'm going to close out this vlog. How about a tree for an emoji if you would like for Lily and Duncan's tree. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!